What's good, Pembroke Army, and welcome back to another episode of Warzone Wamblings. Happy New Year to you all. And today is just me, Shane, and Domi. We are missing Dogger again. Hashtag where is Dogger. But today we are talking about a topic which has been on my mind for a while, and I was going to put this on a blog on my website, and it is the myth of the lockdown writer. Now, to give you some insight, I first heard this phrase used on a Facebook group, an author Facebook group. I am not on any of these author Facebook groups anymore because it is just such a toxic shit environment. But the phrase of the lockdown writer. So let's get into this and let's talk about my personal experience of this as well, because I do technically come under this umbrella of a lockdown writer, and I think a lot of my other author friends out there do as well. Basically, I wanted to write a book from late 2016 to the beginning of 2017 is when I started my writing journey. And with the lockdowns, like I said, with a few other authors out there as well, we were given the gift of time to pursue this, because I personally couldn't do it with my career being a chef, of working ungodly hours. So with the lockdowns, I was given the gift of time, which is where I started on my writing journey. And as I've mentioned, I think a lot of authors out there as well did, which I've met a fair few on Instagram, which is where I started. So I did a little test the other day to see if this theory holds any sort of weight. Now, to give you some context, I started my author Instagram account on the 27th of April 2021, just as the lockdowns were coming to an end, and my first book was nearly ready to be sent to my third editor, I want to say. So I started my author Instagram account, English with Daniel. I started my author Instagram account up then. And what I've done now is I've compared my first post that got 50 likes to my most recent post that got 50 likes. And I can tell you now, there are only 6 people within my first post and my last post that are there. So what I did was I went through all of the other likes on my first post to see where these accounts may have either deactivated, dropped off, or just stopped posting completely. And one thing I noticed with the accounts that are no longer as active as they were back then was that they had all stopped posting roughly around the same time of their own writing journey, which is when they had finished their manuscript. So we're going to look into a couple of reasons of why that could be, and some other research that I've done as well into terms of how authors have started publishing since lockdown. And what we're going to look into first is, again, these author accounts that are no longer active or not posting all stopped when it came to the end of their manuscript. And this is where the writing journey for all authors begins, of where you want to take your next step, or how you want to get your book out there. And it is very possible that this step could have put a lot of these lockdown authors off, if you like, when it comes to either taking the traditional publishing route, the daunting task of A, having to find an agent, and then B, having to deal with all of the rejections until your manuscript is finally accepted. There's also the look at the self-publishing route, which I took, which doesn't just cost a lot of money in itself. It's also a lot of effort when it comes to hiring your editors, your art cover, getting everything else involved, formatting, other bits like that, and even taking on everything on yourself. Even if you do what I did with the ISBNs, I know if you publish through Amazon, you don't have to get an ISBN, but I did as well. And going through the steps of copyright, these are all daunting tasks. And I think a lot of the aspiring writers through lockdown were put off by this, because this goes into something that I've researched recently as well, which is the rise of the hybrid publisher. And since 2021, hybrid publishers have gone up by 250% in terms of the work that they're now putting out there. And this is a fact. This is something I have researched in England alone. I don't know how it is across the States or in other countries, but there has been a huge increase. And I think that's, if you don't want to face the rejection or having to go through an agent on the traditional publishing route, but you don't want to take on all the responsibility yourself of a self-publishing route, you can take that money and give it to a hybrid publisher who will take all of that work off of your shoulders. And I think when it comes to the lockdown writer theory, this does hold a huge tremendous amount of weight in its belief that when it came to the fantasy of writing your book during lockdown, having to go through the other steps, I think, judging by the Instagram, what would you call it, engagement from my first 50 like post on my most recent one, is evidence of that. But this is just Instagram itself as well, because a lot of these authors might have just backed away from Instagram. I know a lot of authors who have as well, because as much as it is on the surface, I've spoken about it before, there are a lot of great people on Instagram, and a lot of you are watching this through Instagram, and I'm truly grateful to have met you. But I think it's become evident to a lot more people now that not everyone on Instagram, whether they're authors or part of the reading community, actually have your best interests at heart. So it could be a bit of that why these Instagram accounts are no longer active or engaging, or posting even, I should say. But the rise of the hybrid publisher seems to be that it's the easiest way to get your work out there with little effort as possible. Just taking the money you would have for self-publishing and giving it to a hybrid publisher to make them take care of all of the work for you. Now, this isn't a slam on any of you out there who might have hybrid published, because at the end of the day, I don't know your story behind everything that's going on. You might not have the time to take on self-publishing, and you might not have the time to wait around for a agent or a traditional publisher. At the end of the day, how you publish your book is not my business. I'm merely going on the stats that I've seen in the rise of the hybrid publisher. But the reason I'm talking about the myth of the lockdown writer is, as I've said, it doesn't just slap myself into this category, it slaps a lot of other authors, these outstanding authors I've met since I've joined the writing community, into a box of people that we only took up writing because we had nothing better else to do during the lockdowns, which is spectacularly not the case. We were just given the gift of time. And it's these kind of labels as well, like I've heard one given to self-published authors like myself, like the only reason that we took up self-publishing is because we couldn't get traditionally published. And if you are one of these people that had said that, I would just like to say that I never once applied for a traditional publisher. My decision to go self-publishing was based on my cooking career. I've said that I no longer want to be a head chef unless it's my own restaurant, and when it came to choosing between traditional and self-publishing, this was my book version of opening up my own restaurant. So this whole theory of the lockdown writer, it does hold some weight when it comes to the whole hybrid publishing boost. And also these accounts that I've seen, or all these other potential aspiring authors out there who dropped off at the end of the first hurdle when they realised just how much work actually goes into it. These people could have taken up writing during lockdown because they were bored, but to slap all of us in that category, I'm going to put out there, is just lazy, and it's actually disingenuous to all of us out there who have put so much effort into our own work. And yeah, so this is me sort of taking a stand up against that label, but it does come with a bit of water when you look a little bit more into it. It just depends what kind of side of the spectrum you're actually looking for. But that's just how it is, that's just how everything is these days. If someone has taken a different route to the same sort of goal that you've got, online people will find reasons to pick holes in it, and that's kind of something that's bothered me as well. I'm one of these people that would cheer other people's successes. I don't get jealous by it. In fact, I love to see people do well. And yeah, putting everyone into the category of the lockdown writer just because we found our path in lockdown is out there, just pretty outrageous, and you need to do better and look inwards towards yourself. But this has been your boy Pembroke's Own and Team RPG. We have just given you 3 wins to start a new year off, so slap a like on for that. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'm uploading once every 2 weeks. 1 week will be a podcast like this over some gaming footage with Team RPG, and the other week will be a face-to-face video where I talk about other stuff. Q&A coming next week. I've got that all sorted out and the hot sauce is ready to go. As always, much love, take care, and peace.